Hi my beautiful people, welcome to this talk with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. Thank you so much for being here, thank you so much for joining me. For those of you that are, thank you so much for being a part of the Reydiant Reality community. It truly means the world. For those of you that are just joining or just passing through, thank you so much for stopping and giving me your time. I truly appreciate it. If you haven't already though, please don't forget to like, share and hit that subscribe button. So with that said, you've seen the title of the video, The True Power of the Empath. I gotta be honest with you guys, some of you are not gonna like some of what I say. Some of you are going to disagree, some of you will probably rage or rally against it. I'm not taking it down, I'm not gonna shift my viewpoints. This is me giving my perspective, and I hope that I can allow you a different viewpoint on some of the stuff that we're seeing and feeling and experiencing in the world today. This is the start of many different talks that I will be doing over the time as we go forward. So with that said, the true power of the empath. Now before we go into that, there is a couple of things that I want to read you, and I created this post. It was about the Indigo children, and for those of you that know, the Indigo Child is probably out of, you know, what we call the indigos, the crystals, the rainbows. The Indigo Child is the original empath that stretches right back to the 60s, believe it or not. So I'm going to read you this post, and it's quite long, so stay with me. Okay, so here we go. Just saw the age of the Indigo Child is over. Just saw this video that prompted this write-in, I guess. The age of the Indigo Child was 1965 to 1985. People use this term blithely nowadays with new ageism. I too have been guilty of this at times because of my lack of understanding. But with knowledge comes understanding. From the understanding comes the wisdom, and after the wisdom we arrive at acceptance. Acceptance is what breeds enlightenment, and no step in this process can be missed, period. Now my original point, those dates are obviously prone to some fluidity. We are after all using the Gregorian calendar, which pretty much fucked everything up. Sorry monks, but you did. Some predate, some post-date, but as a rule this is the period that we're talking about. Indigo children were the first wave of a new era of life on this planet for the times that we're living in now, as we understand it. Kind, honest, open, and also at times very naive and even gullible through their sensitivity. Of all three new waves, this one had the hardest time of integration. Why? Well, let's look at the things that were taking place in their seeding on this planet. The 60s brought us revolution without understanding of cost. The 70s brought us hedonism without end and a start of the glamour. The 80s brought us capitalism without seeming end and the lies of advertising. In amidst this, all of this taking place, you have a whole wave of souls coming into being that came not only to experience life, but carried the heaviest of vibrations that the future ones could build on because it was strong enough to be the foundation. With this energy came a very humble and noble understanding of life, of morality, and above all, a deep, in your bones gift of empathy. I don't just mean being able to see where someone else comes from, I mean true empathy, literally feeling what others feel. The good, the bad, the downright painful and ugly, but also the amazingly beautiful, the collateral beauty. If you haven't seen the film, check it out. With a dark sense of humour, often rout of years of sustaining abuse, learning to rise above it, these gifted souls brought a wave of questioning spirit, knowledge of the spirit, uncanny ways of knowing what they shouldn't, and a keen inbuilt bullshit detector. Why? The reason is because they were so open and so naive that they misunderstood the reason, not the concept of lies. And really think about what that might mean to you guys. So they missed the part where people lied to get what they wanted because they knew how to ask for what they wanted, and they knew not to take what didn't belong to them, and had no desire for more than what they needed. Fast forward to the 80s, after barely surviving the previous 15, indigos are now in the thick of brain candy, slogans, shiny magazines, nutritionless, sugary stuffs and dreams that promise to have no weight. and dreams promised that have no weight. Yet their resilience and their heavy vibration continues to flourish and permeate. With each wave of indigos, the right questions were being asked, the best actions and the real work was done, often on the backs of these souls. This is why their energy is heavy. Often from backgrounds of abuse, destructive patterns and dark times lingering. Forgive my vagueness, I couldn't find the words, but those are, for those of you that know, you know. Through generations, these purple souls were like little gems of light that were planted in all the right places, in a sort of net covering the planet. Their energy filtered out into the world and started to raise consciousness, slowly at first, because theirs was the way of understanding. Theirs was the energy of understanding the consequences of past actions. With this purple, regal, dense energy, they set the stage for and we started to see more in the way of protesting for animal rights, gender equality. The energy of the indigo paved the way for it to be safe to express our wants, our needs and our desires, and ultimately to be heard. Not just for personal expression, but for expression of the best of humanity, about creation, about love and about freedom for all. And now I'm not saying that that the indigos, that we were the saviours, or even that we should be seen as anything other than human. I'm saying that we, in this time, the first, I am saying that we straddle the old era and the new. And unlike anyone else in this placement, that gives us much of our blessings and many of our curses. Being an indigo isn't about a label or a title. It's not being about... It's not about being able to get away with selfish behaviour and masking boredom with depression. And that really is a thing, so consider that. Yes, I'm calling some people out, and again, the purpose behind this is change. It's not about being able to see yourself as elevated or above anyone else. It's certainly not about justifying negative behavioural patterns with sweeping throwaway statements. And forgive the dualism there, but I couldn't find anything else for it. Being an indigo has cost many souls everything they have, from people, friends, family, materials, wealth, you name it. No matter, they have soldiered on and they do whatever feels right. And again, forgive the dualism, but language can be hard sometimes. Being an indigo has always been about being yourself and being courageous enough to own every facet of that self. Again, the good, the bad, the downright painful and ugly, and the amazingly beautiful, the collateral beauty. Love of understanding of our planet, its species and our kin, a deep sense of empathy and empathic ability. Actually feeling everything and everyone around you to the point of being scared to go outside at times. As a side note, this doesn't require medication or have labels like ADHD or OCD. Chemical imbalance in the brain is obviously a real thing. I'm not completely ignorant, but it requires meditation and understanding, which breeds understanding, acceptance. None of these steps can be missed. Remember what I said at the beginning. And as a side note, we're so quick to medicate anybody that seems to be different or think in a different way. I feel like if we could really push past that need to put a plaster or a band-aid on everything, you'd actually discover a lot more beauty behind it, than what we're being told is actually there. Being an indigo is what made us who we are. It's what paved the way for lighter and brighter children who are now being born vegetarians, who no longer want to eat meat, who no longer want to partake in the destruction of the planet that we live on. Not by force, but by choice, because they understand that there are other ways to do just about everything. Ones that don't involve harming or destroying what's in front of you to get what you want and need. And we, my fellow indigos, made the world the way it needed to be for them to come forward and do so. Listen to the new wave of children, the rainbow children, the crystal children, whatever you want to call them. They are the next waves, and if we let them, they will lead us into a golden era that we cannot even fathom at this point. We are love, we are one, we are unity, and there is power in the all of us standing together. Now, believe it or not, I actually wrote that some time ago. For those of you that are on my Reydiant Reality Facebook page, you'll remember that. And yes, it was very, very long-winded. It's like 10 minutes of reading there, so I'm sorry if I've bored you. If you are still here, I'm going to get to some other points. Now, when we talk about an empath, what do we talk about? And the reason I talked about that post there is because indigos and empaths, very, very similar energy. And so I wanted to give you kind of a rough overview of what my beliefs are around this subject and around this aspect of human life, aspect of the human being, right? So when we talk about the true power of the empath, so let's talk about this first. What is an empath? I've got a definition here that I kind of liked, aside from the paranormal bit, because I believe that being an empath is a deeply human phenomena. A person with the paranormal ability to perceive the mental or emotional state of another individual. Now, I mean, for those of you that know, it goes so much deeper than that. That really is the basis of, you know, the most oversimplified way of describing what an empath is. It's about truly being able to feel what somebody else feels. And I'm not talking about stepping into their shoes from a perspective, like genuinely feeling it. When someone says, I'm hurt, you hurt with them. When someone says, I'm angry, you're angry with them. You know, going through crowds. For those of you that are true empaths, you know. Hospitals, oh my gosh, you know, busy times of the year. I stopped doing Christmas by the time I was 19 because I really just couldn't hack it. I would walk past people in the street who would be saying happy Christmas and happy this and happy that, and inside I could feel that they were dying because they didn't have the money to spend, or they were in debt, or they were not able to provide, or, you know, and that stuff, I found it really, really difficult. It was only as, you know, I started to really delve into my spirituality and really get a handle on, you know, that gift that I had and start to channel and hone it, that it really started to make sense, that I really started to discover it. Empaths and large groups, places of high stress, any of you know, hospitals are some of the worst, you know, not because we can't handle them, but because we feel everything. You know, like really, and it really can be at sometimes, even when it's a happy emotion, if there's too much of it, sometimes it really can be oppressing. It's like a physical weight that presses in on you. So the difference between an empath and a HSP, I really want to talk about this because, you know, I'm seeing this a lot in comments and forums and groups and this, that and the other, and it really starts to make me think. When you think about an empath, I've described that. When you're talking about a HSP, a hypersensitive person, this is somebody that is very much, can an empath be a HSP? Absolutely. Are all HSPs empaths? No. You know, they're attuned to their environment. They feel things for sure. They can pick up on things, but not all hypersensitive people are empaths. It's not about what they feel. Sometimes it's about their own stuff and their ability to really sit with the feeling that they're actually experiencing. And it's sometimes, for a lot of people, easier to say, well, you know, I'm picking this up from other people, or it's really hard for me, or, you know, sometimes it's just easier to do that than actually sit with what and how you feel and process that information, to take it through. A definition of a hypersensitive person: a person having a high measure of sensory processing sensitivity. For some people that is being around too many people, too much stimulus, having too much noise around them, it's too much, you know, too many visual cues, too many people shouting, too many people speaking, too much of anything. For a hypersensitive person is a real drag because they feel it, they really feel it, and their ability to process that is so fine-tuned. And do you know what, it's funny because I was watching a program yesterday, and this is the perfect example for a hypersensitive person. If you had if you had superhuman hearing and somebody cranked up a set of headphones and put them on your ears, can you imagine how that would feel? That's what a hypersensitive person experiences the world like. That doesn't necessarily mean that what they're experiencing is other people's emotions. So learning to distinguish between the two, knowing, am I just a hypersensitive, or am I an empath? As an empath, you then need to discover, Is it just the stuff that I'm picking up from other people's emotions, or is it that I am actually sensitive enough as well to pick up other things and having, you know, difficult times in processing the amount of information that I'm able to take in? Because if you're hypersensitive, right, as an example, it's a poor example, but you know, the Hulk, he says, you know, when I'm the Hulk, it feels like I'm just a raw exposed nerve. If you're an exposed nerve, even just on your skin, it's going to feel like, because it's jarring, because you are hyper attuned to that sensation, right? So I've talked about that. Now I'm going to talk about something else that for a lot of you, I know you've probably switched off by now because, you know, it's a long video. The difference between triggers and traumas. Yes, I'm going there. And you know what? I really don't, I'm sorry to say, but I don't care what, this is my opinion, it's my experience, it's what I feel, it's what I know, it's what I've looked at in the research and the way that I see things. When you have a traumatic experience in your past, a truly horrific or horrendous experience, this could be anything from any type of abuse, you know, to behavioral patterning, conditioning. It could be, you know, anything that you've seen a traumatic experience, like you could have seen somebody have a really awful accident right in front of you. You could have been somebody that's been through, you know, the true horrors that we talk about, whether it's abuse, whether it's rape, whether it's domestic violence, you know, things in your past that really have a hold on you. And you grow up and your response to certain things are triggered. You can only really be triggered by something if you have a true past trauma. And I'm not saying that any one trauma is worse than any other. That's not what I'm saying. Your crap, the stuff that we hang on to, your baggage is your baggage. And as an example, I'm sure they did tests on this as well, and I can't remember what it's called. If you had two kids, one's got a PlayStation, one's got a favourite teddy bear. If you take that item from them, they both feel the same level of hurt. It's not about the object. Just because one's a PlayStation and one's a teddy bear makes no fucking difference. It really doesn't. They feel the same hurt because something they love or care about has been taken away from them. It's the same with a past traumatic experience. If you have PSTD, I think it is, if you've got that, it doesn't matter whether you saw a parent or parents abusing each other or whether you personally were abused. The hurt, the shame, the guilt, the fear, everything that it creates is still the same. It's still as deeply rooted. It doesn't matter what it is. So don't ever judge your own pain or experience by anybody else's. Don't ever let anybody rob you of how you feel, right? No matter how big or how small it is, what you feel is absolutely real because you're feeling it, and nobody else can tell you what to feel or what not to feel. And that's a big part of this, right? That really is a big part of it. However, if you're using that as an experience to be self-indulgent, or basically to say to people, and I'll give you an example, oh, well, I don't like that, so I'm going to say that it triggers me. Because as soon as people hear trigger, oh, you're triggering me, they back off, they run away, because now we live in the age of political correctness gone mad. People start freaking out and they're like, oh, you know, maybe I really touched a nerve. Is it just that you disagree with what that person is saying? Is it just that you dislike what that person's saying, and so therefore you're going to say, well, you know what, oh, that triggers me? Does it really trigger you? Do you have a past traumatic experience that is rooted or is being exacerbated by what somebody has said to you? If not, learn the difference. And the reason I'm saying that is because this is one of the ways that people every single day are giving away their power, just giving it away. To say, oh, well, you know, this triggers me and it makes me upset, and oh, it makes me not be able to do this. Stop being so self-indulgent and deal with the facts. Indigos, empaths, crystal children, whatever you want to call yourself, starseed, light bringer, light worker, we are here to change the planet. If we run away from every single challenge because we're triggered or we can't get out of bed because somebody doesn't identify with what we identify, how the fuck are we going to change the world? How are we going to make things better for ourselves, for other people, for the generations that are to come? Just because you don't like something or you disagree with it doesn't make it any less valid. And as an example, right, well, this is one of the things that really got me. everybody talks about this, you know, the 1% are holding the wealth and the 99% have got have got the rest, right? And that's a good example. Just because you dislike or disagree with that doesn't make it any less valid, because it's the fucking truth at the end of the day, right? I'm sorry to keep swearing, guys. I know a lot of you don't like it, but this is me. I'm very real, I'm very raw, I get down to it, I tell you exactly what I feel you need to hear as opposed to what you want to hear. And that is the whole point. The true power of the empath, when you are awakened, when you are conscious, when you are enlightened. And I'm not saying I'm any of those things. What I'm saying is I've done a lot of work around what my personal attachments and issues are in order to be able to say this stuff. When certain things come up and they make me feel a certain way, I'm able to distance myself from it emotionally to say, is this coming from me? Is it related to some of my past traumas? Is it any of those things? Am I just reacting because this is something that I don't like or I disagree with? What is the difference, Raph? I really do question myself on those things. There's been many times I've seen stuff online and I've thought, oh, I'm going to type a massive essay and a response to it, and it's like, what's the point? How is that going to help you? How is it going to benefit anybody else? What I can do is utilize the platform that I have here in order to talk about things that are truly important, and I really feel that this is one of them. Self-indulgence is not productive because it encourages excuses, and this is the whole point of it. You got to be able to, it's not enough to be just a good person, especially by today's standards. You've got to be tough. You need to be tough enough to do what needs to be done. If we are here to change the world, indigo children, rainbow children, crystal children, light bringers, light workers, star seeds, Pleiadians, whatever you are, if you are here to help change this planet, you're not going to do it behind a keyboard. You're not going to do it by running away from every challenge or everything that you disagree with or dislike and saying, oh, well, you know what, that triggers me. How do you change anything that way? You've got to be tough enough to face what it is in you that needs to be changed so that you can affect real change out there in the world. Why? Because this planet, this world is for all of us. It's not just for me, it's not just for you, it's for all of us. And if we're going to make a change so that we can, as a humanity, elevate our consciousness, we need to be thinking as a unit. And ultimately, where that unit starts is with the single unit. The true power then of the empath, being tough enough to do what needs to be done, being awakened, being conscious, being enlightened. When I talk about enlightened, I want to break this idea that spiritual is sitting on a mountain with the sun at your back and the wind blowing on your face. If you want to be spiritual, if you want to be enlightened, if you want to be awakened, you've got to be that every single day. Whether it's going shopping, whether it's, tying your shoelaces, you need to allow that to permeate your whole life. Not just have moments where you do your rituals and you get super spiritual and then you disappear into everyday melee of life. Your spirituality, your enlightenment, your awakenedness, your ability to connect, it should be with you at all times, because that's how you truly navigate life in the best way of all of who you are. Being an empath comes with tremendous power. It comes with amazing gifts, amazing abilities. It comes with a true purpose, and that true purpose is to lead humanity towards the best and brightest of itself. Right? And this is why I've done this video, and like I said, I know I'm going to upset a lot of people with some of the stuff that I've said, with some of the ways that I've delivered it. To be honest with you, if I'm triggering you, maybe you need to look at why that is happening. Have I said something that feels actually true enough to make a bit of uncomfort in you? Good, I hope so. Because in that change, in that power to look at yourself and say, you know what, maybe there is something here that needs to be adjusted. That's how you're going to help other people. You want to make the world a better place, make yourself a better person, right? And that's not to say that I don't think that I am above anybody else. In fact, up for a very long time, I actually saw myself below everybody. I'm now at a place where I'm comfortable in my own skin. I know who I am. I understand what my power is, and I understand that being an empath, that being attuned to everyone, that having my amazingly hypersensitive intuition is a gift. It's an absolute gift. And as long as I'm clear on whether something actually is triggering me, or it's just something that I disagree with and dislike, and so therefore I want to shut that person's opinion down by saying this, this and this to get them to back off. Why? Who are we to deny anybody else their opinion? And that's the whole point. There will come a point, what I believe is we are all heading towards a point where we won't all think alike, but we will all feel alike. We will all understand that we are here together, that we are here to elevate, help and support one another. That paradigm is slowly but surely coming in with the end of toxic masculinity, with the rise of the sacred feminine, all of this stuff. I absolutely love it. I think it's the way forward. But we're only going to get there if we are truly clear and truly understanding of what our power really is and how to utilize it. So the true power of the empath isn't somebody that can't deal with every little thing that comes to them. The true power of the empath is somebody that says, you know what, I can feel it and it fucking hurts, but I'm going to make sure that I do what I can to change that. That is the true power of the empath. You know, it's not just about, well, I say it's not just about, it's very, very similar to, you know, when you see somebody doing an exercise and they're like, I can't do it, I can't do it. And then you see that little bit of resolve in them just change. They grit their teeth and they get through it. And you feel so much better for it. It's exactly the same with being an empath. You need to wake up to yourself. You need to understand who you are and where you're going and how you're going to get there. And that way you can bring the rest of humanity with you. My beautiful people, I've spoken and I am sweating like a beast now because, you know, I really got into that. As I said, I am not sorry for what I'm saying. I am not sorry for if the delivery, you know, of me swearing and all the rest of it doesn't speak to you. Please pass me by and find somebody that resonates more with what you do, with what you believe, or how to, or how that works for you. I myself have done this. As I said, this is the start of something new. This is a brand new year. It's about communication. It's about expression. It's about self-expression. If you haven't seen it yet, the 2019 numerology video is up and out there. So go and check it out. This is about me finding my true voice and delivering the messages that I really feel like people need to hear. So I hope this has helped you in some way, shape or form. I hope my honesty, my vigor and my passion have come through to show you not only is it okay to speak your truth, but it's vital and it's important. And for those of you that are empaths, for those of you that are hypersensitives, I love you. I truly, truly love you. I'm just trying to wake you up to how much power you really have, because all the time you're letting the world convince you and systems convince you that everything triggers me, and you know, if I'm triggered I can't do anything. And when you understand the difference between everything that you're feeling, that's when you have the true power to truly act in a way that is beneficial for you and for everybody else. Recognize who you are, understand how much power you've got, rise up and take your place among humanity, not above it, among humanity. When I say rise up and take your place, get up off the floor, get up out of your bed, open the curtains, get out there into the world, because we are here to change the world in some way, shape or form. And I love you and I believe in you, and I know that you are here to do something truly special. You've got a purpose. The fact that you are here means you have a purpose. Now get up, get out there and start living it. I love you. I wish you an abundance of everything bright and beautiful in this world and in this expression of what it means to be human at this time. Take care, and hopefully I will see you very soon for more videos.